I don't know if I'm like in an alternate universe or what, but Jacob Blake, who was shot 7 times in the back by Kenosha, Wisconsin police officer Rustin Shesky. The shooting happened on August 23rd, and back in 2020, Blake apparently refused orders, and Officer Shesky responded to a domestic call. Blake refused their orders and was getting into an SUV when Shesky fired him 7 times in the back. Well, folks, Jacob Blake, who had filed a civil lawsuit against this Kenosha police officer, has decided to drop the lawsuit. And it was apparent, it was a one-page stipulation that was signed by lawyers from both sides that indicated that they agreed to dismiss this case with prejudice, meaning that Jacob Blake cannot refile the claim. It was also said that even though Blake had sued him back in March of last year, the court records, basically the court is going to dismiss this lawsuit. Why? Why? I didn't see anything as to why this happened, Ashley. What did you find?
That's the question everyone is asking Faraji. Why? And there's no answer that's been made public.
I mean, he shot him 7 times in the back, Bakari.
In the back.
And no civil. I mean, he filed the lawsuit, but then mysteriously drops it
with prejudice. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, Jacob Blake is paralyzed from the waist down. He may never be able to walk again. And many of us, if we were shot and couldn't walk again, we'd file lawsuits. So it's going to be interesting to find out why this was dismissed. It's interesting that they are keeping it hush-hush. So it just makes me think, like, what is this really about? Some people were speculating and hoping that they settled, but usually settlements are made public. It would have been reported by now. So I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. But Faraji, and it doesn't make sense to me as to why this was dropped.
Let me tell you, it doesn't make sense to our watchers either. Janae checked in and said, "Oh no, I hope he wasn't coerced. He survived the near bullets, and to say he can't bring it back, that's not what his father wanted." Taylor said, "The rest of the story." Jane L checked in and said, "Look, they dug up something on him or something close to him." Brother King Lee said, "Look, perhaps Mr. Blake was told by his legal representation to drop the case because of Blake's troubled criminal background." I don't know. Lana, one of our great watchers, she was like, "Oh, wait a minute, what?" With the eyes emojis, like, what? He did what? Like, Jacob Blake was one of those cases back in 2020 that got national attention and it got people in the streets protesting. And 2 years later, we're talking about a drop lawsuit, Bakari.
I'm so curious about the reason why.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if it's any, to the listener who commented, they dug up something about his past or his criminal record. That shouldn't, I don't know how is that fair for that to have a bearing on that?
I mean, it shouldn't have a bearing.
It wouldn't, because it's a civil case. If it were,
that's what I'm saying. This is a civil. This is a civil case.
And at the time, Blake was wanted on a felony sexual assault, and that was dropped. And so, nothing criminal would have a bearing on this civil case.
Right. So I'm like, I don't know how does that even come into play with this? So I'm curious about whether or not there's any obligation and whether or not if he even is in a position where he can make a statement, right? Like if there's some other arrangement or agreement that is just not coming to the light for the general public.
Right.
Oof.
Right. Absolutely. And Janae checked in the back end and she was like, was Crump on that? Benjamin Crump. Was he the lawyer for Jacob Blake at that time?
I don't. Maybe at the time.
I gotta check.
Now, it hasn't been mentioned. I tried looking to see if Benjamin Crump made a statement. And I feel like that would have been everywhere, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I know that he represents, he represents a lot of these families and he's made, these high profile lawsuits. And Ben Crump goes after that money. So he ain't even trying to hear Hey, Janae, you know Ben Crump ain't even trying to hear no drop lawsuit where he can get money from an unjustified shooting. Y'all hear me? Donita said this is super fishy. It ain't super fishy. It's beyond super fishy. I'm telling you, it's beyond super fishy. I don't know. We will see if Ben Crump was the lawyer on his case. I don't think he was.
He was one of the lawyers.
Oh, he was one of the lawyers.
The suit last year. So there were a series of lawyers that were on it. But I don't know what happened with Crump in between then and now, because I haven't anything from Crump. So it could be something as simple, I'm just speculating here, as the attorneys believing that they really just don't have a winning case. And there's no need to keep pursuing it. Or it could be something obviously a lot deeper than that may never come to light. But you rarely see this take place, especially a high profile case like this. So even if
I don't know if you are shooting a man in the back 7 times, that sounds like the man is running from you.
Yeah, but Blake admitted that he had a knife. And of course, the officer at the time claimed that he felt threatened and thought he was going to hurt him. Blake maintains that he wasn't threatening the officer. He was just trying to get into his vehicle when he was shot. But even in situations where we've seen where the officers are acquitted of any wrongdoing, civil cases still happen. And in those situations, the victims' families win those cases. And so,
civil cases, they go after the officer themselves and not the department. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just fishy, so.
What'd you say?
It's very fishy, but I guess.
Oh, gosh, it is. It's a fish market. It's a fish market. Lake trout, salmon, it's everything right there. Like I don't get it. Somebody talked to my aunt to have that contingent that he can't refile. That's weird to me.
Yeah.
That's really, really weird. I hope other victims of police brutality, I don't know. I was going to say, I hope they don't, follow that same path. But I mean, I always seek justice. If the situation like that happened to me, I'm trying to get justice. I'm trying to make the officer feel that type of pain as much as I felt the pain.
Exactly. Looking for every avenue.
What'd you say?
Looking for every avenue. Every law, trying to figure out how to make it work. But once again, if the lawyers felt like there was no way that they were going to win the case, then
right.
But I am curious to see why Benjamin Crump, I don't think, has said anything. That is interesting. Portia Lewis checked in and said, "Laws does not equal justice. Laws are meant for poor people, not them." Well, we will certainly keep our eyes on that.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?